So Richard Sherman and Skip Bayless on their first show talked about this controversial moment that just went viral of Skip Bayless getting into it with Richard Sherman live in effect. I mean, Richard Sherman brought the hammer and brought the energy to Skip Bayless. Now, on the outside looking in, Richard Sherman had an issue with what Skip Bayless was saying, as well as everyone was saying this. All the NFL elite commentators were saying at that particular point and in that particular era where they wasn't giving Richard Sherman his props. They, basically saying he's not the best cornerback in the National Football League. And, Richard Sherman got irritated by that. And he heard Skip Bayless echo those same sentiments. And that's what got them, a back and forth. It was more Richard Sherman just going in on Skip Bayless. And it just left Skip Bayless in defenseless mode. He couldn't give or reply and give Richard Sherman the same energy. I think it was that, and I think it threw Skip Bayless off guard. Well, on their first show on Undisputed, together as a tandem, Richard Sherman and Skip Bayless talked about that infamous moment. And Skip Bayless gave us some details behind the curtain on how that transpired. Richard Sherman confirmed that it transpired that way, but also gave some retrospect from his viewpoint. But Skip Bayless was basically saying, at that particular moment, ESPN, First Take was blowing up on ESPN, and there was talk of having First Take also in the afternoon. And that's how big First Take was blowing up for ESPN. But also, in that particular moment, in that particular part of history, Ray Rice assaulted his wife on the elevator. And Stephen A. Smith said some controversial remarks about it. And it wasn't the most popular commentary, him commenting on the Ray Rice issue. And he got into so much hot water. Michelle Beadle chimed in. A lot of female personalities was chiming in, and almost got Stephen A. Smith fired. Stephen A. Smith had to apologize and was suspended by ESPN by his comments. Okay. Even his, even some of his colleagues was not condoning Stephen A. Smith's comments. And Skip Bayless talked about this, and he said, well, that's why I couldn't really, go in and give you the same type of energy, because they were, quote unquote, on probation. The first, Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless was on probation because of Stephen A. Smith's comments about the Ray Rice subject. Well, this made its way and made its rounds to Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith addressed it on his show on YouTube and basically said that everything that Skip Bayless said was true. However, everything Skip Bayless was saying is true. However, he's leaving out some details that he wasn't the only one that was the reason why First Take, Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless was on probation. It seemed like the worldwide leader of sports, the bosses, were not happy with how Skip Bayless was promoting Tim Tebow and having those Tim Tebow moments. I remember that, Skip Bayless was pretty much on an island to himself, saying Tebow deserved to be in the National Football League. Tim Tebow needs to be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. It seemed like the Denver Broncos, John Elway, wasn't too impressed with Tim Tebow because he wasn't the traditional pocket quarterback. He was an unconventional quarterback. And and a lot of the football experts in the National Football League just didn't like the hype of Tim Tebow. Okay, they liked Tim Tebow as a player, and they was very positive about Tim Tebow. They just didn't like the Tim Tebow hype train. All right, and it made a lot of NFL commentators look bad because on a week in, week out basis, Tim Tebow would bring this team back and ultimately win games. He just win games. I remember that vividly. And, Skip Bayless would talk about it each and every day. They had a music video talking about it. That video won an award. It gave ESPN some incredible, crazy rating numbers when Skip Bayless was, like a cheerleader, campaigning and champagning for Tim Tebow. And, Tim Tebow deserved second, third, fourth, sixth opportunities to remain in the National Football League. Now, eventually, reality set in, and Tebow, later on could not continue to play in the National Football League. Okay. Now, Tim Tebow fans will tell you, well, Tim Tebow at that time was a lot older. He was outside his prime. He was dealing with injuries. He wasn't put in the right opportunities. I remember them trying him out for the New York Jets. I remember them trying him out for the New England Patriots. He wasn't, if he was gotten a fair shake and a fair opportunity, he would have had a longevity in the National Football League. But that's neither here nor there. But that's basically what Stephen A. Smith saying, hey, yeah, the Ray Rice comments I made put us in probation, but I wasn't the only reason why we was on probation. It was, Skip Bayless's continued assault on popularizing Tim Tebow as the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, to me, I'm pretty sure the powers that be, their bosses had an issue with Skip Bayless hyping up Tim Tebow, but I just can't say it was so serious where the bosses was telling Skip Bayless, hey, you need to stop doing this. This is making us look bad, and we're going to put you on probation. They may have had issues with it, but they allowed it to continue to further on. With the Stephen A. comments with Ray Rice, I can see the powers that be. And, Disney owns ESPN, it owns ABC, it owns all of these properties, these entertainment properties. And I can see Disney having a real issue with Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith is lucky he did not get fired from ESPN. And there was a strong possibility he could have been let go from his job. Y'all got to remember, that was the Me Too movement. That was, it was so many NFL players, so many professional athletes being charged and being accused of domestic violence. And that was, the important topic, the important subject. It also gave us a lens that in sports entertainment, the female voice wasn't as strong as it is now. It seems like we care more about the athletes than the female fans, than the wives, the girlfriends, and things of that nature. Domestic violence was at first, before the Ray Rice incident, there would be reports of domestic violence, but it wouldn't make the main page. But when Stephen A. Smith, he sort of kind of popularized that domestic violence is a serious subject and it should be addressed seriously. Those comments that he made about Ray Rice and his fiance, it put Stephen A. Smith in a bad light. And just think about it, he almost lost his job. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he did, they wasn't going to let go of Stephen A. Smith. But there was talk about him losing his job after he comes back from his suspension. Now, ESPN told Stephen A. Smith, you better go back on the next day and apologize. He apologized. He tried to clean it up. Even the apology was sort of, it wasn't a true apology because, look here, Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, those elite commentators, they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to have egg on their face. So they would apologize, but then they will explain why they said what they said. Okay? And, just say, hey, look, it was, that was my belief, but I understand how it would offend someone, so I humbly apologize. Okay? They will make excuses to what they're saying is unjust. Okay? So, this is I was not surprised by how Stephen A. Smith tried to sort of sweep this under the rug, but it just gained national attention. Female journalists from every network was weighing in, and Stephen A. Smith was further from being wrong than Skip Bayless being, I'm pretty sure the powers that be talked to Skip Bayless, say, hey, tone down the Tim Tebow thing, okay? But I don't think they put them solely on probation because of that. And once again, Stephen A. Smith, I like Stephen A. Smith. I really don't go in on Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. Smith, you deserve a shut the fuck up, okay? Let sleeping dogs lie, all right? You got punished for that. You got humbled because of that. And you was on the verge of losing your job and the opportunity to make the money that you're making today. The opportunity to have the voice that you have today. Okay, that could have been cut instantly. Now, Stephen A. Smith is a talented human being. He would have bounced back, probably went back to Fox Sports 1, probably would have, went heavily on podcasts and on YouTube and things of that nature. But Stephen A. Smith wouldn't be resonating to the person that he is today if he would have lost his job over the Ray Rice comments. All right. So Stephen A. Smith, you really need to shut the fuck up about this. Quit trying to push blame on somebody else. I do remember that, but hey, it is what it is. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy, the host with the most. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.